You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, and the San Francisco 49ers are looking extremely elated as they get closer and closer to figuring out how they're going to sign Brock Purdy and how much money Brock Purdy's going to receive. This is going to be unprecedented. Brock Purdy is going to be the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. Never before has there been a player who's been the last player picked in the draft that's moved his way up the ladder. And he is now going to be looking at being the highest paid. What does that cost the Niners? It's going to cost you some players, obviously, because the 49ers got some players they're trying to bring back. And one of them is Brandon Aiyuk, and that one's going to be a tough deal for the Niners because the Niners are trying to figure out how they're going to get this one done. And Brandon Aiyuk is a first-class, hard-working, he's a 5-fold receiver. He can run the routes, he can block, he can catch. You can put him on special teams, and he's giving his heart and soul. And the 49ers are saying, no, we want him. His agent saying, no, there's no trade. But Brian Aiyuk saying, look, man, I'm the player. I know what I'm hearing, and the 49ers not giving me the amount of money I want, or the contract would be signed. So here's the deal. The 49ers also got Staley up in there, brought him over from the Chargers, and they're signing one-year contracts. And, folks, what's going on? 49ers going to have about 40 guys come up next year. Okay, you think about this. 40 guys off a 53-man roster that are going to be unrestricted free agents. So this whole thing is going to come down to the 49ers going to the draft. They're going to have to take a lineman because they're going to be signing Purdy to $100 million. So there's no way around that. But the deal is this. Man, you're going to have a whole state of confusion that's going to fall back on this because never before, have you had a quarterback. Normally they do defense and they lock it in. But never before you had a quarterback that's come through. And what the quarterback's going to be getting now is high paid. And why are the 49ers paying, Brock Purdy? I guess because the fans, everybody loves Brock Purdy. And everybody loves the way Brock Purdy plays. And I'll be honest, Brock Purdy has played well. However, when we got to the dance in the final moment, Brock Purdy didn't look any better than Kaepernick. Brock Purdy didn't look any better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, so that's where Money Mike is sitting on this one. And normally when a guy, even Dak Prescott, when he came in, he was 4th-round pick. He didn't become the highest paid player in the NFL. Why are we taking the last pick of the draft, coming off of elbow surgery, unable to make the deep throws and the long throws, and we're getting ready to blow the whole team up to do this? This one's going to be a tough one as Money Mike. We've covered the Niners. We love the Niners, but we also have to be objective in the NFL and what the 49ers are doing. And when I say objective, I'll talk to you about Staley coming over from the Chargers, and you're doing an inside promotion in the defensive coordinator, but you went through a process with Steve Wilkes and blew the whole team up, and you just started a whole fire in the building. Now you got Staley coming over, and why is Staley here? I'll tell you why he's here in Money Mike's opinion. Staley was with the Rams. He was the defensive coordinator. We were trying to go to the Super Bowl, and guess what? He stopped us. So Shanahan has this thing about getting guys who have beaten him to come over and join the staff. He tried that with Garrett with Kansas City. Ain't nobody going to try to help the Niners one game away win a Super Bowl when they're trying to win one themselves. So with Staley, he took that and he rolled that on up to the Chargers. Now, the brilliant man that he is, and he can coach them up, but when he was at the Chargers, man, that defense flopped, okay? And you talk about the 49ers want to run a wide 9. The deal here with Staley, folks, you got to have really, really, really good safeties, okay, because your safeties are coming downhill to tackle, and for Staley's offense to work, you need an extremely good man-to-man corner. You need an extremely good man-to-man cornerback. You need a Darrell Revis to lock down to do what you need to do. So, because when he put the defense in with the Chargers, here's the deal, folks. It didn't work because the personnel didn't work. And you have to have some big bodies up front to take on double teams. And if they can block you solo on the front, it's going to be tough. And that's why you need Budda Baker. If Buda Baker come down, he'll make tackles. But, man, Buda Baker costs a lot of money, and the 49ers with all the superstars. The greatest roster that I've ever seen assemble, well, one of them, one of the best that the 49ers have, because Bill Walsh had some of the great ones. And, and when speaking of Bill Walsh, I was thinking about it over the weekend, and I still, for the life of me, don't know why we just switched the coordinators, because I wanted to ask the 49ers fans, did Bill Walsh ever get rid of George Seifert when he lost? Did he ever get rid of George Seifert? Because Bill Walsh and George Seifert took some losses, folks. They took some big ones. And, Eddie D was pretty simple. He said you got to bring ASS to get ASS. And he put a lot of pressure on Bill Walsh to succeed until Bill couldn't even take the pressure anymore. Okay? And this is a pressure cooker. And I know Eddie D, man, he turned this 49ers organization around. He's got his bloodline. He's got Jed running it now 100%. Okay? And I'm telling you, man, the D Bartellos, one thing I'm going to tell you, you win the Super Bowl, you're going to talk about a lot of revenue. I think the overall that gets spent on the Super Bowl winner might be about $8 billion, folks. Okay, so losing the Super Bowl cost the 49ers a lot of money. And when an owner looks at that, man, he's looking at it from the standpoint, we are trying to do something, we are trying to win. But, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no way you can come back on a win after you got 40 unsigned free agents at the end of next season. Okay, that means a bunch of the people that are going to be on this roster this year will not be here next year, and that's a fact. Okay, so this thing is about as close as getting up if we put some foresight into it, and you got to look at what's coming down the pike, because you got all these guys, offensive guys, and for the life of me, I have no idea how much Christian McCaffrey's going to cost, but Lordy, I mean, if McCaffrey keeps doing what he's doing, McCaffrey's going to cost a lot of money, and that's the bottom line. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. It's a beautiful Monday, and we're getting ready. Major League Baseball, we're getting it in. We'll see you soon, and always remember, all things are possible to those who believe, and this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast, brought to you by Fanatics Global.